I want to love this game.
Yes, so do I. I really want to.
I actually just like this game.
I'm meh. I'm like it's alright.
No, I get it, but I think the difference is that's okay.
That is perfectly okay. You're absolutely right.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Well, hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick. Are you well?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Dave, you used to play those look and click adventure games?
Oh, hell yes. Like, did you ever play like the CSI Miami, CSI Vegas, like point and click, like police games?
No.
Oh, they're so good bad. You did, right? Everybody did.
Geez, oh, come on.
Yes,
We just started and you've unlocked a memory.
Right.
Whoa.
Just you had scenes and you're clicking everything and they're just going, no, that's not it. And then you click it and it does the... Yeah, I played tons of those games. They're good bad. They're not really great games, but there's still enjoyment to be had.
Oh, yeah,
and
but that's a certain type of experience, those games.
Yes, that's right. And yeah, I never played those really weird, there's 60 items in this screen that has 600 items.
You didn't?
Can you find them? No. My wife played those, but I was like, what? I don't understand the fun in those. But I sound like you did.
You're missing out.
You're
missing out. Oh, yeah. I played them with a friend and we were both drunk. It's one of the best times I've
drunk.
ever had playing a game with a friend.
Another factor, fundamentally. Playing those drunk, it makes a lot of games better, fundamentally.
It does.
You can't chuck that in there. You can't chuck that in there like that's a thing. But anyway, why do you ask? I'm
asking for these investigative adventure games because of this week's game. Dave?
Yeah, this week's game, I'm going to probably say it wrong, but then I looked at its like history, and most people say it wrong, so I don't mind that much. It's Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss, or Cthulhu, or Cthulhu.
You know what?
One of those. Cosmic Abyss. It's in a Cosmic Abyss.
I used to think it was Cthulhu as well, but in the game they say Cthulhu.
Yes, and I think it's Cartman's fault for me. Because you must have watched the South Park
Eric
episode.
Cartman.
Yes. Have you not watched that episode? It's such a great episode.
What episode?
Cartman storms off because no one's being friends with him, and he stumbles upon Cthulhu, and then he's dressed up as a cat, and he just pretends to be purrs and scrutches up to him, and Cthulhu then falls in love with him, and then he controls Cthulhu and terrorizes the town and stuff. But that's probably the first proper introduction to Cthulhu I ever had, and that's how they said it in the show, so that's why I call it.
Sure, let's call that proper.
Yeah. It's the proper introduction. It's the real research-based introduction to Cthulhu, and Doom, Dark Ages, right? You kind of rode him for a little bit in that game, if you remember. Can you remember?
I don't.
You didn't get to you get to ride Cthulhu, and then you beat his ass later on in the game as you complete it. Yeah.
Well, okay, I need to play some more Doom the Dark
It's a
Age.
very short segment, though. It's it's a shame that they didn't give you longer, but that's what happens in the game.
I get it, but the point is, Cthulhu and his entire pantheon or mythos is so ingrained in a lot of cultures, because, I mean, this was all written by H.P. Lovecraft decades ago.
1928.
1928! That's almost 100 years.
Isn't that crazy how long ago that is? And it still lasted. It's still being used today in
not just that, but if we take a look at media, such as games like Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss,
yep,
it's flourishing.
It really is. Because it's, again, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, H.P. Lovecraft is pretty much prolific for his horror thriller kind of creatures and stuff that his mind seemed to delve into a time where things
people are saying he's the grandfather of cosmic horror.
Yes, that's very true. He really did. He was potentially
absolutely.
the creepy kid at school, but then he wrote it down and became fairly famous from it. But yeah, it's lasted years. His stuff sticks with you, and it's remarkable that it's lasted this long in regards to games and culture and stuff like that. And it's still, like you said, it's on the rise. People love this type of stuff.
Yeah, and I think usually the people that tend to like cosmic horror or the Cthulhu and his mythos, the book, The Call of Cthulhu, are much more, I promise this is going to tie into the game, but more inquisitive
Sure.
than other readers.
I can see that because the unknown, right? Like questing into the unknown.
Exactly, yeah. Something like this wouldn't interest just about anyone, I'd say.
Well, out of curiosity, you're a big D&D person. Aren't the Mind Flayers, or what the hell they're called?
The Mind Flayers.
They're kind of Cthulhu-esque. No,
they're very Cthulhu-esque. They're very, very Cthulhu-esque. But instead of one big entity, deity, the Mind Flayers are just creatures. Dangerous creatures.
Of course.
Very... creatures who've got a lot of psychic abilities, but it's not like you can't kill them.
Oh, very true. That's very true. They're just flesh and bone fundamentally, right?
Yeah, but I'd say the Mind Flayers are very Cthulhu coded.
Yeah, they are definitely inspired. Again, just to see where HP stuff kind of touches so many things, be it Dungeons and Dragons.
So true.
But yeah, it's crazy that now in 2026 we're playing a game set in finding Cthulhu, or kind of finding Cthulhu.
I wouldn't necessarily say finding, stumbling upon.
Yeah,
could
that's
be
true.
better. But it's not even just inspired. It's inspired by HP's work. I'd say it's almost directly adapted, because it's not like Cthulhu just features. The big chunk of this game is about him.
Yes, that's very true.
Right? The lore written by H.P. Lovecraft is used in this game. You go to the sunken city of Reliae. Right. Yep. You find Cthulhu.
You do. Yeah, that's very true. It's... Okay. Before we jump ahead of it, it's developed by Big Bad Wolf, who did that Vampire Masquerade game, which I think was fairly okay. I know it came out... The Swan one. Yes, that's right. That's the newest one, right? The Swan Song one, which kind of the
newest one is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2,
and that one's kind of meh, right? Or was that just absolutely crap?
Yeah, that one was meh. The one before that was Swan Song, which was also meh.
But it kind of has a weird cult following, right? For some reason, people kind of
I think the first one kind of knocked. It was a vampire RPG in the city, and it was ahead of its time. Yada yada yada.
And they also made a game called The Council, which I'd never actually heard of. It also kind of looks like a bit of a sleuthy detective. Yeah. Lots of people wearing monocles and stuff like that. So
okay.
But never heard of it. So they made a few games. This is kind of the most modern one they've made by all accounts.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, should we jump into the narrative then? Because
let's do it.
It sounds like you enjoyed the narrative.
You know what? The narrative, much like I like to do with audio, as I divide it into chunks, the narrative can also be divided into chunks. And I think certain chunks of this product I enjoy, certain chunks I enjoyed less.
Oh, there were so many chunks I enjoyed less.
I know. For the narrative, what I think I really enjoyed is the premise and the setup.
Of course, yeah. Yes, I literally wrote that down too. Like, the actual premise and the setup, I think, was really well crafted and interesting.
Oh, yeah. Right, you can't say this doesn't just tickle your curiosity bone.
The first tagline of the plot is, it's 2053. Across the globe, the occult threat grows and more blatant and strange, incomprehensible events multiply. The Earth's surface resources dwindle, power corporations are trying to take over, and the depths of the oceans are kind of looked for more resources and delved upon, and they don't know about the horror they're going to awaken. That's a cool start.
Yeah,
I like the idea that
it is.
In like 20 years or 18 years or whatever, our resources dwindle. Global warming has raised water levels and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, that's a really unique kind of start to the like a Cthulhu game. I was in right there. I was wading in the waters. I was enjoying myself. And then I don't know, the beginning. You play Noah. you're tasked in investigating a mysterious disappearance of your friend. What was it? May? I probably got it wrong. What was her name?
The one in the house, right?
The one in the house.
Yes, let's go with Mai.
And again, with the help of your AI companion, you explore her house. Her missing. There's this cosmic portal sitting there that you have to work out. Which is fine. Kind of good, like boilerplate type stuff to get you started. And then, like you said, you go into the depths of actually finding Cthulhu itself. Right, following the H.P. Lovecraft aspect that is under the water. There's underwater city. That, like you said, from the original scripts of Cthulhu and finding out about his lore, I enjoyed. That is
same,
cool because it's something I didn't know. These are all things I got to learn whilst playing this game.
Yeah,
which was fun. But oh, it's nothing. Okay, this is so mean because it's nothing I haven't heard before 1,000 times.
Yeah.
The premise of there's a thing that's driving people mad, and then you go to the place where the things are driven mad, and there's a lead scientist who's pushing the project forward, even though people are. Come on, I know.
Yep. And it turns out at the end, the lead scientist was mad?
Right? And it's what? We got Dead Space, Event Horizon, Doom. These all follow this same script. And this game just follows the same script. It's nothing, like, new at all on the aspect that's trying to draw you through the game.
I totally get what you mean. In all those other cases, all the ones you've mentioned, those franchises kind of mimicked what H.P. Lovecraft was trying to do with Cthulhu.
Yes, I can agree. I can imagine they do pull across.
I think if I were to come to the defense of this game for at least this one part, this is that same premise with the originals.
Yeah.
Right? Cthulhu
I agree.
The original.
I agree. I'm trying to think if I can counter that in any way, but you're right. I'm trying to go back to the movies and old books, but you're right. It is kind of the original aspect. Even like 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea had the big squid, which was Cthulhu based, I believe.
Yeah.
But okay, so the premise was great. I love Cthulhu. I'm in there. I'm getting into it because these games, like you mentioned, these sleuthing games, they survive on their story. Because there are other aspects of, like, the gameplay isn't, surviving or dodging or quick gameplay. It survives in the story you're going through and the discovery of what you're doing, right? Because that pulls you through.
Yes.
There were so many just random things. Like, for some reason, the ancient tablets of Cthulhu upgraded your AI.
Oh, yeah. No, that...
Why?
Okay. I know.
What?
You know what?
I understand.
Okay. Dave, I think... There are some parts of this we should not be questioning. Just accept it. Okay. They don't understand what's going on. Neither do we. Probably neither do game designers. It doesn't matter. It's gamifying the game.
Yeah, that's the thing I lose when it's a narrative-driven story. The fact that it does. Why? Because it's mystical and it glows in a blue fire, and the AI said so. The same way the AI said so. Oh, you're underwater. Look at all these red floating fungi things. Grab it and shove it into your body because
just do it. Do it. Trust me, you'll be fine.
That's normal. And he just goes, yeah, and then he does it, and he goes, oh yeah. I feel fantastic. Thank you, AI.
Now I can look at stuff.
I don't give me a little bit more fleshed out reasonings and I don't mind. Just something. Something, I don't know, tell me the ancient tablets are Bluetooth enabled. Or I don't know, something that says this is why this happens. Not just like, oh, I've upgraded because you found that tablet. Now unlock all my special new tech powers.
Okay. I mean, if it's a game about a big squid god underneath the sea with rocks that drive me crazy, I can have some suspension of disbelief. I'm good.
Okay. You're right. But make it magic.
If the rock is upgrading my phone, cool.
No, but they could have made it upgrade your brain, your soul, something magical in regards to like magic and brain stuff. And yes, they do kind of do that in regards to his corruption.
Yeah.
Which again, I like the premise in regards to giving you two like moral choices to go down.
Yeah.
Do you lose yourself to Cthulhu and his inner brainwaves, or do you choose the stand up against it and do the good thing? We all enjoy that in games, and I'm glad they put that here. And you were telling me there are actually multiple paths, which I didn't kind of know because I just kind of brute forced my way through a lot of this.
We can talk about this in gameplay, but I think
Yeah.
there's some parts in the narrative that pertain to this as well. Because this is an investigation game, a big part of the narrative is finding clues, making deductions, and finding your own way through the story. You can make different deductions and come to the conclusion in different ways, right? So you could get through the maze by following the footsteps of the creature, which you find a certain way, or you can go through the maze by finishing the artifact on the altar.
Yeah,
there are two different ways that you can get through to the end. And you know what? No, this is actually gameplay, but your corruption increases or doesn't increase depending on which you take.
Okay, another weird thing. Sorry, just before we finish storyline, you've got AI, right? We've got this AI talking to us from somewhere.
Yeah, Key. Her name's Key.
Key. It's artificial intelligence, and the whole premise is that there's this woman in a house on her own, and you go in and it's messy and the kitchen's undone and there's weird scribblings on the wall. Of course, those scribblings on the walls, that cliched thing again, which annoyed me a little bit. But you've got AI. Someone phone her. Why did I know they phoned her when we were there? But we've got AIs in our head, but we have no means to communicate with her or send a drone or anything. Just like, I should have been more in touch. I should have been there for her while she was going mad. And I was thinking, what? Does she not have an AI? Why do some people have AIs and the other people don't? Why are we? Okay, it was annoying me a bit. But,
I get it. You were finding holes in the story.
Yeah, the Lovecraftian stuff I do enjoy because, like you said,
that's great. But in this game,
stuff,
the execution of it, maybe so much.
I lost immersion. I had too many times where I was saying, "Why? Like, explain why this?" And they do, some of it they do, some of it they don't, and that kind of lost me a bit.
Yeah.
Anything else narrative?
Yeah, I think this is just more interesting to think about than experience moment to moment.
Yes,
Do you think this would have been? I think that's why people enjoy reading about these stories instead of playing through them.
Yes.
Because this is a lot of these stories are very kind of thinky stories.
They are, and by all accounts,
it's not your
pace.
Halloween.
Yes,
narrative. It's not Freddy Krueger. It's not The Ring.
Yeah.
This is very slow burn, and you're going crazy because of the Rock's stories.
But this narrative also makes it a slow burn. That's later in gameplay as well, but it makes it slow, kind of like erroneously.
Yeah,
which
and
kind
I
of
think we're going to disagree on that later.
Yeah, you think you could be right. Anything else? Or should we go to visuals?
Let's go to visual.
Okay, visually, it wasn't too bad. You know, it's Unreal Engine 5, so, it's a good engine. It makes some pretty stuff. Lighting was good. The depths was good. You know what was horrible was the torch. Again, it's a very weird little silly thing. But whenever you play these horror games or those ones that require you to use the torch is always really useless. Like it's just really dim and just horrible.
It's the shittiest torch you can find.
Always. Just give me a solid like mag light. I just want a normal torch. I get that I've got a cone of light that I have to deal with. But just give me something that doesn't make me, I'm playing on like a 55-inch screen and I'm squinting thinking, what is that? Is that something in the corner with my torch?
What am I looking at? I've got a torch. I shouldn't be squinting.
That's what I mean. That doesn't add to like the immersion.
I get what you're saying. I
like
said the same thing here. Visually, this game is quote unquote fine, not groundbreaking, not ugly. It's good. It's fine. This is definitely not a pragmata.
No, exactly. It is not super. It's super amazing. But
one thing.
Go on.
Excuse me. One thing I really did enjoy about this game is sometimes it gets scale right.
Okay. In regard, give me an example.
I'll give you two.
Whoa.
The first time you go down into the substation, and the first time you take a look at it, you get out of a cave, and there's suddenly a wide open space, and you can see underwater in the complete darkness the substation. And it's massive, and the music swells, and all of a sudden you've got all this space, and you feel so tiny. And it's at that moment I feel, ooh, okay, this game understands. This game understands scale. The next time I felt that was when I got out of the maze, and I looked at the first time I'm seeing the city of Relaye. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
This cosmic horrifying city that should not exist. That's got some very scary stuff going on, and this place is massive. It's huge. It's cavernous. You can see things that's stretching on for, I think, miles. And I'm thinking, hell yes, this is scale. This is what I want to see in visuals sometimes. So even if the fidelity isn't top-notch, ultimate best, if something can get the scale right, it's already got points in my book.
No, I get what you mean. Like I said, the scale itself kind of just makes you, like you said, how tiny you are.
But that's the thing. That's one of the things with cosmic horror. I wrote this down too. In cosmic horror, if you can feel small and alone and insignificant, that's
what it does well. That's what it does well. I did the same thing, and even just like the claustrophobic aspect of being in the water, going through the tunnels, even the heat, like this bubble state. I know fissures that go underwater that cloud your view and stuff like that.
Yes,
it adds a degree of when you're in the labyrinth of Lost, you can get lost very easily.
I felt lost. And in a game like this, I don't feel scared, but I did get anxious.
Yes. Okay, out of curiosity, how much of this game scared you? Now you're a dead
Zero.
space. Yeah, exactly, right?
None of it.
Which, part of me, not a big scary game guy, so I was relieved to some degree, but not any of this scared me. Not even in the slightest.
No, none of it. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be this game's downfall.
So do I.
Not because it's not scary, but because it's being marketed as scary.
Yeah, look at the front cover. The
exactly. Noah's shouting underwater because Cthulhu's got him.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a very scary premise, and the picture is, the cover art is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
It's very
this game is. It's like this is an investigation thriller.
Yeah.
In a horror wrapper.
It is. But again, visually it's nice. Again, I keep wanting to jump into gameplay because of the things that annoyed me with it. But
we'll get there.
I also thought like the AI pinboard was really bland. I get we all love pinboards. We all loved Alan Wake. We all liked putting those things together, but just like a very blank canvas with circles and little. I thought, come on, this is.
It's minimalist.
It's minimalist, and I don't know why. Maybe this was just me, but why did they keep the things so very far apart when you had your clues?
That's a very, very good point.
All the way to the right to get.
You know why? Because I think on the last couple of chapters, that board gets filled.
Yeah, it fills out. It does, but it was such a weird thing at the beginning to go. Okay, I've got these markers. Where are they? And granted, this isn't optimal with the controller.
Scroll for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you've got to scroll all the way. Oh, and it's just the claw marks. That doesn't help me in any. But I am being very picky. The graphics, the visuals, this aren't bad. They're not.
No, they're just scale for me is a standout.
Yes, the scale was cool, and it does have that under the water scary. Things could go wrong at any moment type thing.
And one very, very important thing, especially important for investigation games, is environmental storytelling.
Yeah, true.
Your
Agreed.
environment around you has to tell a story. It's a nice to have in other games. In an investigation game, it's a necessity.
Agreed, 100%. Yep, you need it to.
Right?
Yep.
It does most of the heavy lifting. You can, by just looking at a room, not immediately, but you can deduce what's going on after taking in some clues, making deductions. You can investigate. And you can only investigate if you can see what's going on around you with help of the environmental storytelling. So I think that's doing a good job too.
Agree. No, it does. It like I said, it's not amazing because it's hard not to compare it to other games like Dead Space. Strange enough to compare it to a lot of Dead Space this week, but it's just not that same level. And I know it's unfair. This isn't a big AAA studio and all the other things. But a lot of the areas, especially in the underground lab that you're in, kind of look the same sometimes.
It does.
And
it's so unfortunate.
It is. And you're right. Some of the rooms are kind of all blood-filled and things scrawled on the wall, and that's a lab, and this is a kitchen.
There was monsters roaming these halls.
Yeah.
So, of course, a comparison to Dead Space is going to be super easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Although they can't be further apart. Pragmata is closer to Dead Space than this.
That's very true. I agree entirely. But and you got green. I started off the game thinking this was going to be scary, and then a couple hours in, and the biggest jump scare was the ceiling falls down a little bit when you're walking through one of the corridors. I was like, is that? It's a shame.
Why? This game isn't scary. Don't try to jump scare me.
It's really not scary. Anything else visually or visually?
No. I just think there's a lot of. I think sometimes they did get the atmosphere right. It made me tense, not scared, but I did get tense sometimes. But then after a while, I just relaxed.
That's the problem. That's the problem with a game like this. You're not supposed to be able to relax. You're trying to save your best friend.
But I did relax.
Yeah, that's it. That's not an investigative, stressful, needs to happen now type environment. If you're like, oh, okay, that's just me.
Right.
Audio then. What did you think of the audio?
Of the 3 parts of audio, none of them wowed me, surprised me. No. In fact, none of them were really, I'd say, great. They were all just good.
It's
right?
So
the voice
sad.
acting was serviceable. I think Noah could have, the protagonist could have done a better job with some of his lines.
I agree. Again, I wrote it down. It's unfair because we know all the good ones and they're so good at it, and then when you get to people who are trying their best, but it sounds like it's written off a page, and they're not in the same room. Like they're not playing off one another, which is very hard to do on your own. But it is like, oh, where is she? Oh, look, it's the kitchen's a mess, and she's like, oh, we should have looked after her more. There's just no connection between the voice.
Funny enough, I think the best voice acting is Key, the AI,
that's true.
Was supposed to have flatter line delivery because she's a robot.
Agreed. That's true. But then she sounds like she's trying to learn, and he's being very polite to her.
Yeah. And this is 2054. AI should be
true.
Much more advanced than it is now.
Yeah, ChatGPT is better than that already. Again, there's so many disconnects. You find the bloodied mess, and it's like, oh no, and then she's like, yeah, but if you look at the rocks, and I'm thinking, you just found out your friend took her own eyes out. You were supposed to have more to say.
I know.
You find that out about your really close friend, and they're like, oh no, oh look, have you seen this? It's a portal.
I mean, okay, sometimes we complain when games forget to be games and games turn into movies. A lot of people had this complaint with Uncharted and Last of Us, Naughty Dog games. Now, when games are kind of turning back to being games, I think a lot of people really just, I don't know, are games struggling to find that middle ground?
I think so, but I also think the voice acting, if you just look back, has grown so much better in the last 10 years.
It
just has. If you go back to any old game, be it Deus Ex, Wolfenstein's a bit of a pull, sorry, Monkey Island, things like that, you compare it to now, there's so much more acting involved in game line delivery now.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so hard to not notice when it's bad.
Just people like Troy Baker and Jennifer English really just leaving everyone else behind.
They really are. And a lot of the new people are coming out are just so good. The actual training has gotten so much better in regards to the delivery. One thing I did like...
The best voice acting I've ever heard in my life. Dirk van Wyk in Scream.
He knocked it out. He needs to be up there on those lists. Yeah, agreed.
To anyone who does catch that joke, go listen to our Screamer episode.
Yes, it's a banger. As you lighty. Anyway, I did like the ambient noises were okay. I thought the envelopment in water when you changed from being pressurized to unpressurized was kind of cool. They did some but it is kind of bleh. The audio in this was like meh. All right, it is what it is. It
does its job,
Yeah.
which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the soundtrack and the sound design doing its job. That's what it's supposed to be doing. That's fine. I do think, however, that it is part of the big issue.
Yeah, agreed.
So if we think about what makes a scary movie or show or video or game, what makes it scary, half the time it's the audio.
Yes, agreed. Yes, particularly in a scary type of game.
Exactly.
That's
So
exactly right.
horror, it relies heavily on audio and atmosphere. I've said before, the atmosphere is there. The atmosphere is definitely there. It's the audio not pulling its weight.
Yeah, agreed. And again, we got so many good examples out there that does it so well. It's a shame.
This is just this is just, if you take a look at this as a horror game, which I'm not entirely convinced is a horror game.
No, it isn't. I like I said, I don't like horror games. And they stress me out and I get too immersed and stuff like that. So I know none of that happened in this game.
Exactly.
I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't immersed.
This is an investigation game.
It is.
Like I said, in a horror wrapper.
It is.
But the problem is, people are looking at this and thinking, oh, hell yeah, horror game.
Yes. Agreed. It is kind of deceptive, the marketing and the front cover of the game itself. And anything just named Cthulhu instantly is a horror aspect to it.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like a great segue to the gameplay.
One
other big feature that these types of games, right? Big feature, narrative, and then how you go through the narrative, right? Like,
correct.
Like what's it called? LA Noire, right? Great game, great investigative,
great
gameplay, like everything about it. So
yes, love LA Noire.
How long did it take you to play this game, and you got bored? And you're going to say you didn't get bored.
I did get bored.
I was. Don't get me wrong. What it does, it just does. There's so much reading, and I don't hate reading. I like reading.
There's a ton of reading. This isn't run from the monster, get away, kill the monster, and fight game.
And have a few recordings that tell you like lore.
Right?
Yeah.
This is pure investigation and puzzle solving. In this game, you're going to read. You're going to deduce and explore, and you're going to connect clues. That is the gameplay loop. Yeah. That right there is the gameplay loop.
And it's okay. I feel like a Gen Z or Gen Z, where but I wasn't engaged by it. But you did, like you said, you couldn't just read like some of it. You need to read every single bit to kind of piece together what you do. And
you do need to read everything because there are clues.
Hours. That is hours.
It is.
I'm not a slow reader, I wouldn't presume, but it's so much reading.
It is.
And then you analyze it, and then you got to read the
analysis.
Analyzer's data, the analysis. Sorry, and then I read the transcripts of the audio things too, just
and then you make deductions on the board, and then you need to read the deductions.
The deduction on the board, I just started dragking everything and dropping it. I was like, wait until it goes green. Just drag, drop.
Listen, I do not blame you at all. I will say though, I came full circle. I started this and I realized what it is actually about. The gameplay loop. Read, deduce, explore, connect clues. And then I got bored. And then I don't think this moment happened to you or is going to happen to a lot of other people. I came around. I actually got really into it. And then I started paying attention. And then something clicked, I guess. Maybe I got a couple of clues right. And then I felt,
felt smart.
Hell yeah, I'm smart.
Yeah, there's that. That's always a good feeling.
So I maybe just had one or two of those clicks very close to each other that made me feel, okay, I think I'm coming round to this game.
That pulled you through. I can see that. It just
maybe
I'm just
I don't know. What I can say is I started this game, played a bit, got bored, and then got not bored.
See, that's what I tried to do as well. I like I said, we've all got our lives are limited with free time. I played half an hour, then I managed to squeeze in an hour, then I managed to squeeze in like 3 hours, like a good gaming session, and that none of it started pulling me through. Like, let me just. It's also not absolute nonsense that you can only pick up 4 items. That does not make things easier or better.
Makes zero sense.
You know that later on you do the cylinder puzzle to power up the generator. I'll admit I had no idea what I was looking for, so I just picked up each one, put them on the floor, and just no. Yes, there you go. Puzzles.
That's how you solved the puzzle?
That's how I solved that puzzle. I know one of them needed a cylinder, and one of them needed not to be an empty cylinder, and I didn't work out which ones weren't empty. Oh, no. So I just grabbed all of them, 4 at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, there's like 30 cylinders. So I moved them all over there, and I just took it out. It solved it. It was a brute force method.
That's not how you do that puzzle.
How did I miss it? Was there like a thing on the cylinders themselves?
Okay, yes.
I don't even know.
One thing in the gameplay is you've got a radar. You can add certain materials to your radar that you've scanned. So you can scan all titanium things, or you can scan all card keys, and then it'll show you all the titanium or card keys in your close proximity.
Yes.
What makes it interesting is sometimes you can combine materials.
Oh yes, that's right. In the search
you
thing,
can combine titanium pipes with extra dimensional sap, and then when you hit your radar, it'll show you the titanium pipe that has extra dimensional sap. And that's the one you then switch out.
I didn't do that. Let me just. Okay, that's right. This is very moody. I hated that resonance thing. Again, because it followed no logic. Here's a rock. I've got the resonance frequency of that rock. Now, if I do this, it shows you all rocks.
Yes.
Did I? And then
I don't know.
Like
this is tech from 30 years from now. Who knows?
But you can't check up on someone in a house. But I can scan for all toenails. That's also connected to the Kennedy assassination. That I can resonancy like.
Well, it needs to be a game. It needs to have gameplay.
Like I said, if you didn't have that, I defy anyone to find that last ID tag. That one that was in the cupboard, hidden behind the books.
Oh yeah, excuse me. I needed the radar for that one.
Yeah,
I would have found out otherwise.
And do you know you can switch that off, like the AI? Like the other mode is not having the AI help you or analyze things. Oh god, that must be a nightmare.
Yeah.
The AI is handy. So yeah, that annoyed me. 4 items, the resonance thing, it just didn't make much sense to me. And I just found myself bored. And like you said, there wasn't even the aspect of being scared and like running away or being panicked to kind of.
I think the audio could have pulled a bit more weight. Although I do have to say, you rated the gameplay much lower than I did. I rated the gameplay a bit higher because I think I came full circle. Also, I think because this game isn't trying to be something it's not.
I'll give
this
you that.
game, this investigation and puzzle solving game isn't trying to be that monster chasey game.
Yeah, I got you. A lot of like just run away, hide in the cupboard, be it.
Exactly, it's not trying to be that. This knows it's an investigation game, so it's gonna do the investigation and it's gonna do it well, right? There's a heavy focus on clue analysis and investigation systems, with detective mechanics turned up to 11.
Yeah,
it's niche, but it's not like Close to the Sun. Remember Close to the Sun?
I do remember Close to the Sun.
Big Tesla ship.
That's right.
It also had this walking simulator investigation vibe, but there were some parts where you needed to run away from bad guys.
Yeah, that's right.
And that just didn't fit the game at all.
No, I agree. It was out of place all the time. But the only thing I just disagree with that. Like, I give you, it's an investigative. Yeah. I've played the Blade Runner point and clicks. I've played so many. Yeah. Now, granted, that's more
the Monkey Islands.
You got to Monkey Islands were great. Sorry, you're right. They are a pain in the ass to work out and near impossible without a game FAQ or something like that to tell you how to do things. But also, there's no people to really talk to, so it's kind of just you. and I get that's the narrative. Albeit like L.A. Noire had all the interactive aspects of chatting to people and stuff like that. Again, it just bored me. This game bored me, and it's such.
I get it. I absolutely get it.
I just wanted
it bored me to
enjoy it more, and it just got boring. Yeah. I was like,
you know
I
what?
really wanted to
You're
know
right.
the enders.
I want to love this game.
Yes, so do I. I really want to.
I actually just like this game.
I'm meh. I'm like it's alright.
No, I get it, but I think the difference is that's okay.
That is perfectly okay. You're absolutely right. Will it sell numbers? And will, like you said, the deceptiveness of the nature of their artwork and the horror aspect to it,
and the marketing,
visually how it's trying to do. Yeah, I'm not sure that might rub a few people the wrong way.
I think it might, and I think a lot of people are only going to realize that this is a thinking game wearing a horror skin after they buy it.
Yes, I think that might rub people the wrong way. But if you love that type of thing, you're listening to us right now, this has a lot of that in it. It is a lot of investigative.
If you're in this niche, you're going to go nuts for this.
Okay, anything else gameplay you want to add? Or should we go straight to performance? What do you think? You gave it, again, I feel like you may have a handicapped PlayStation or something. What performance issues did you run into?
Big frame rate issues.
Am I mad? Sorry, weird thing. Did it say did it say Big Bad Wolf twice at the opening sequence of this game?
I have no idea.
I swear it does.
I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, continue. What performance issues did you have?
Just an unstable frame rate. Not necessarily just unstable, but low. I was playing this... in this game, you can pick between performance mode...
Yes, that's right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Or fidelity mode. Yep. You can get frame rate or you can get some quality graphics. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I took performance mode because I need my 60 FPS.
I always do that.
I don't think I even got 40.
Which is so weird because the graphics, like you said, they're not Pragmata levels of graphics.
No, it's not super mega.
No, it's not. It's again, where did you see it? Like when it was filling, I saw it occasionally, when you fill up with water in those pressured chambers. I did see it when it's the part where you're about to immerse yourself underwater. I did see frame rate drops there quite a lot. I don't particularly know why, because on the screen it's only really.
What do you mean? Throughout the entire game of me playing, I had low frames. I wouldn't say I had like 20 FPS, but I didn't have 40 FPS on performance mode. I kept thinking I did something wrong, and the more I tried to Google it, the more I realized nobody's got this game yet.
But yeah, no, I know that is one of the weird things. So luckily, we're very fortunate that sometimes we get the games before release, and we're very thankful for this one. There is no help for you out there. The internet is empty. But I didn't have too many of those problems.
Yeah,
I do get what you mean, and I think I had a few frame rate drops in the labyrinthian, like the tunnels when you swim through them too, as it's
that makes sense because I think they pull some geometrical hijinks in there.
Yeah, agreed. They do. That's
right.
True.
You take a left turn and all of a sudden, it spits you out.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it does. But it's one of those things, ladies and gents. If you're listening, you kind of think to yourself, well, yeah, that happens in games. Yeah, but games with lots of things going on the screen. This doesn't have that. It doesn't have fire and lightning and attacks and stuff like that.
I don't know. Is this game unoptimized? I don't want to think that it's unoptimized. I don't know enough about video games to just decide when something is unoptimized, but that's what it feels like.
It does feel a bit like that. Oh, and again, would you say this is AA? Kind of.
I would say this is AA.
It's got some money behind it, I'd say.
I would say this is AA.
Which, I mean, compared to some other AAs we've had, it doesn't match up. It just doesn't hit the benchmark, right?
And I also know we shouldn't be consistently comparing those in the same class.
Very true, but it is very hard not to do. It is very hard not to do, because, to be honest with you, ladies and gents, it's what you're going to do. We're not supposed to, but when you play these games, when you enjoy it, you are going to compare it.
It is.
So, it's honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? Should we do value for money? So this game comes out at $50. That I did manage to find out, because they have it on their website and on their own website. You can buy this game digitally, and it looked like physically.
$50, I think, has become the norm for games of a lower quality that still has a certain bar of video gaminess.
Yes, agreed. And quality to graphics, you got to pay a bit more. Like everyone says, Silk Song, $20. Yeah, but that's a little simpler. It's a 2D platformer, right? This is a 3D graphics underwater. That's going to cost a bit more to make, right?
It is.
But
I think, but I know what you're going to say, and I think $50, it's become the standard for AA games.
It has, and it is here to stay. Fundamentally, I think the $20 things are going to be rare and few and far between compared to the $50 off the gate.
Yeah,
but again, like you said before, I think this game is so super niche. That's kind of a high price point.
Very niche, niche, and maybe the marketing is trying to be smart by targeting the horror audience, which is much bigger than the investigation audience.
And it's popping off right now, isn't it? The horror, like Twitch streamers
for horror. We just had Resident Evil Requiem,
exactly.
Silent Hill F.
I get why they're doing it. That's right, and a lot of
Alan Wake 2,
games,
Dead Space remake, so much.
And it's very popular, so I do get why they're leaning that way marketing-wise, but it does seem a bit deceptive. The super investigative side is a very niche kind of aspect. Or the HP Lovecraft lovers is also relatively a niche clientele.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna just sell at that price point for such a small.
Agreed. Especially for gameplay like this, which a lot of people would just call look and click.
It is, or just a walking simulator, which it kind of is. Because there's not much else to do. It's sad. It makes me sad. I
don't know if I'd call this walking simulator, because you do investigate and read and interact a couple times.
Well, you say like that's peak. Like walking, you just walk, but here you get to read and you get to interact.
This isn't that.
That's true. I know what you mean, though. I do know what you mean. It's not just a slow stroll through things as things happen.
Yeah. People just need to get their expectations in check before buying this game. So if you're listening to this and we've not convinced you, please, this is an investigation game.
It is.
In a horror wrapper.
That's right. Know that too, as its main point, fundamentally.
Please. It's a very niche experience. It's a very niche experience disguised as a broader horror game.
That's right. Okay, after all this then, what did we score this? Be it we both had highs and lows, so what did this come out at the end?
Our scores for Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss, they were all kind of intrigued by a certain discovery made deep underwater. So they made their trek down to the substation with Dr. Marsh. As they got down there, after a couple of months of investigation, they start, having nightmares, having trouble sleeping. Some of them find a gateway underwater, and some of them take it. Most of them don't make it. On the other end, Dr. Marsh, let's say, emerges, only to find inscribed on an eternal rock the letter grade rating of D+.
Well, which I think is nicheness and its graphics and its audio being kind of meh. It's a fair score. It is a fair
score. It is a fair score, but I do have to preface that with, if you are in the niche that this game is for, it's definitely not a D+.
Yeah, no, exactly. If it's a banger for you, it's a banger. We just think that the broader audience would potentially not be so.
I think the broader audience would recognize this as a D+.
Yes, exactly. Exactly it. So yeah, D+. It's the same score we gave Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness for the PlayStation 2, I think that was, and Harmony's Odyssey, which is that weird little witchy puzzle game.
Ooh, I liked Harmony's Odyssey.
You loved Harmony's Odyssey. Yeah.
I liked that. Come on.
Nah, you were wrong. But yeah, it is what it is. It's a D+. Buy it if you like it. Don't if you don't.
I guess so. I guess so. If you do like it, though, you're in for a good time.
That's it.
Speaking of good times, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Critical Arcade Podcast. If you'd be so kind to press the button, the red one, or maybe it's green, I don't know, the good button. Press the good button. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow, I don't know what you're listening to this on. How about trying to tell me over the microphone what you're listening to this on, and I'll try to listen.
That's a strange call to action.
I think I just heard someone say Spotify.
Nice. I'm sure someone must be listening to this on Spotify.
Yeah, if
right?
you're on Spotify, click the plus button. I don't know if there's a plus button on Spotify.
You'd have to spend hours looking for that button now. Like, what the...
Yeah. After you've hit the plus button on Spotify, Dave, where can you tell these fine people where they can follow you?
Well, I am out and about, but after playing this game, I found nothing scary about it, so it's harder for me to do this. So, I have become friends with Cthulhu, who isn't a bad fella. He's a bit misunderstood. And if you come about, he will drive you crazy and have you only be able to pick up 4 items. In the rest of your entire life, you will only be able to handle 4 items. So if you're driving a car, you can only have your car keys. And maybe... So if you want to cook food, whatever, only 4 items. But not like at hand, ever. You can only choose 4 items ever that you can ever use. That's it. Because... there wasn't anything super dark. I could kind of do a story from this because it's just kind of like a slow burn.
Yeah,
investigative
you know what?
thing.
I like that one. I think
compared to last week's one.
Jeez, let's forget about last week's one.
Right, last week's one.
Forget about last week's one. I like how it started off horrifying, like Cthulhu, and then the curse is just you can hold 4 things.
That's right. This is how much like imagination this game gave me. This is how bored I was. That's the amount of imagination I got.
Oh geez. Okay, well, off of that, please, Dave, how about you let us know what have we got lined up for next week?
Well, next week we've got a game that everyone's heard of. Because it's kind of re-releasing again, which Bethesda does quite a lot in their games, if you know anything about, Skyrim and all the other things.
Yeah.
They've kind of tried to fix Starfield, and they're re-releasing it with all the new patches and all the fun things and all the UI improvements and all that all packaged into one. So we got our hands on the newer version, and we get to find out, is it any good? Is it better? Is this the one that's going to actually get people saying, now they've nailed it. Now this is
now
the
Starfield can
now it hits.
Join the greats.
I know that Nick's never played it, and I have.
No, I've not.
Before,
I'm very curious. I've heard lots of bad things about Starfield, and I'm really hoping that's not the case.
So am I, to be honest with you, because I like Skyrim. I like Bethesda games to some degree.
Same.
So
I love Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Dang, I put hours away in Fallout 4.
No, Bethesda games used to have the secret sauce. Let's see if they can bring it back.
Yeah, and tune in next week to hear if it does. We'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers.